Yellow. Hey everybody, welcome to 15 minutes after 5 o'clock, where thank you Facebook for once again pulling a last minute update that required us to completely remove the app, reinstall the app, reconfigure the Wi-Fi connection. It is ugly. Don't know what's happening with Facebook lately, but if we don't have a way to plug in permanently to a hardwire on our computer with the sketchy internet, this is where you're seeing a lot of the people on their Facebook lives having buffering issues, having pixelated issues, having broadcast interruptions. So we're looking to figure out a way to prohibit those from happening. And I think we're at the point where we're going to probably have to look to a different internet service provider, because we currently have Frontier and Frontier needs to go. So, is anyone there?
Still trying to log in.
You can't even log in yet?
I'm getting in there now.
Okay. So, welcome to people on the Friday night. We're going to be...
Got a lot of people on.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I was like, if it was me, I would not wait 15 minutes. I'd be like, I got to go do something else on Friday night. So, we are going to walk you through the techniques on how to do 2 of the Rag Wreath techniques. So for those of you that had asked for some material list kind of ahead of schedule, I told you that if you wanted to do the thinner, shorter, more consolidated wreath, to just get 2 yards of any fabric you want. Generally, the more colorful it is, the nicer it looks. And if you can get a 2-sided fabric, that really makes the colors pop. Because it didn't dawn on me until I started this one, what I liked more about my Americana one than the fall one. And it's the fact that your fabric actually has a wrong and a right side, like all fabric does, but some of them, it's kind of hard to tell because it looks like they have a dual side to their fabric. So, who's all there?
So we have a lot of people. Joanne, Connie, Jenny, Sherry, Susan, Audrey, Cindy, Debbie, Teresa, Jane, Trisha, Marie, Janet, Karen, Brenda, Jane, Cheryl, Karen, Connie, Mona, Rick, Amy, Susan, Sandra, Peggy, Vi just jumped on,
Very cool.
Angela and Edna.
Okay, well, again, thank you guys for being so patient with us with the technical issues. Like I said, Facebook just keeps changing stuff all the time, and with what we call add-on technology, it doesn't seem like they want to give permissions to allow outside devices like a Mevo to broadcast on Facebook Live, because Facebook wants to maintain a level of control of that. So we're constantly looking for workarounds around that without just pre-recording a video, no audience interaction, and we just create videos and just share them to you. Okay, first technique, this is the easiest one. This one you can probably finish it in about an hour to an hour and a half. It depends on if you already have all your stuff pre-prepped. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the beginning method, and we're going to do a section, and then I would basically say you could just continue doing this through the other 5 sections, or whatever amount of sections you have on your wreath. This one is a 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame. The thing that I would caution you about, and because this has happened to me already, is when you pick up your dollar frame wreath forms, just kind of squeeze each of the sections and make sure you don't have a broken weld like this one does. So I keep those for the demos because I can use those as prep, but this one, obviously the back rail is missing. So just make sure that you don't want to be like completing your entire wreath and then get down to that last section and be like, what do I do? So I asked you guys to get 2 yards of fabric and cut them into 1.5. It can be as short as 1-inch strips. I prefer 1.5. When you start getting into 2-inch, it starts to become too wide, and then you don't get the effect I don't think that you would like. So I'm going to show you how we cut them into 1.5 inch strips, which you can use scissors. You can just get them started and then tear them if that's your desire, to give it a really ragged look, like a really worn out look. Otherwise, when you cut your strips, you kind of get them to where they look like this, which kind of has some rough edges. I don't know why he's up here today. Stop. So I like them to be more, I don't know, where the threads of your fabric are kind of, I don't know, just it makes it look worn, because that's the definition of the term rag wreath. So you can use any size wreath form for this technique. Just keep in mind that for me, for the materials list, it's for a 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame. So if you go a little bit bigger, you might have to get a little bit more material. If you go like an 18 or 20 inch, you might have to go like 2.5 yards and then cut all your strips down. Be a good boy. So this is what our cutting mat was originally designed for, is to cut fabric. So we've had one for a while, just with Steve's mom and Steve and I doing quilting. It's pretty easy. So I have cut up all of my fabric except for this last little piece. I don't even need it, but I want to show you how to cut it and prep it. This fabric is actually folded in half. It came that way when they cut out your fabric. And then you want to make sure that your folded line lines up on your grid, so that you know you're dealing with it. It's not like kind of, you need to just be gone. That it's actually centered in the square, and then your lines line up perfectly. In this case, it's 19, like I have it sitting on my 22, and it sits right on the 19-inch mark perfectly. And then I have this particular ruler. It's a quilting clear ruler, but it's got a lip on the edge, and that's so you can actually hook it on the edge of your mat, and then when you go to cut it, you actually put tension on it and pull it down, which will keep your fabric and your ruler from rolling around the material. And since I told you guys 1.5 inch strips, I'm setting this on 17.5 and 17.5. Rotary cutter. Make sure your blade is open. I had fun trying to make sure that mine was open, and it wasn't. I was like, why is it not cutting my fabric? It's because I didn't open my blade. And actually this one is pretty well worn out from all the cutting I've done. So there we go. So you would keep doing this until you had enough strips, or you cut through your length of the fabric. I think I started mine and did it about 1 yard at a time, just to kind of see where it would all wind up. And then I know based on the length of this material, it's going to yield me 5 8-inch pieces, and then I'll have just a touch of it left over. So I'm just going to cut these into 8-inch strips, making sure, seriously, I need to get a different rotary cutter. So there's 2. So I have 2 here, 2 here, and then when I open this last one up, it'll give me 1 more 8-inch piece, just like so. And then this becomes our last little throwaway piece. So once you do this, I have calculated that it takes you about 31 pieces to fill an entire section. And on this one, you are going to do it section by section. The other wreath that we're doing, the thicker one, we're going to do it rail by rail. So before we start tying our strips on, do you guys have any questions about that? About anything before I start?
Not yet. They're just saying
Voila,
hi from
we're
Oregon.
good.
Carrie said hi from Oregon.
Hey.
Denise said Kitty wants to help.
Yeah, he's being a little bit...
Brenda said the cat loves Facebook.
No, he actually likes the fabric. So like when you create it, I don't know why, he just thinks it's like a cool little nest when it's all finished. Weirdo. Okay, so what you're going to do when you start this is you're going to take your strip of fabric And for me, I like to fold it. And the reason why I like to fold it, even though, yay, I cut it to 1.5 inches, is because when you go and you finish your sections, if you just do it like this, which we're going to do it, the first section, we're actually going to tie rails 4 and 3 together, or 3 and 4, the outer one and the one up. You would just basically tie them into a knot, just like so. And then you need to physically tie it again so it's in a knot, so it looks like that. That's what, this is the length that you will have by the time you finish. And when I fold them, I found that when I didn't fold them, I was getting a lot of the wrong side of material facing up. So when I folded them and did it, I was getting the color that I really wanted on the top. So you're going to do that on the first one, and then on the second one, you're going to tie your knot of fabric around the middle too. So this becomes 2 and 3, or 3 and 2. So this is what I was doing. I just folded it, tie it into a knot, tie it into a knot again, and then we have it on the middle. So the first one goes on the outer and one up. The next one goes on the third and the second one. So it's the 2 utmost middle ones. And then the last one is going to go on 1 and 2, or the innermost one. Is he being a real pain?
Yes.
You're going to put them on 1 and 2 and wire those, or tie those together, just like so. Just like that. And then you're going to take them and you're going to push them up against the side rail, so that when you flip it over, you're getting that woven pattern. So you have one that goes to the bottom, to the middle, and then to the top. Exactly like that. And then don't worry about how this looks until you get to the sections. So again, you go back down to the bottom. This actually works really good when you have it in your lap sitting on the couch. You have all your material cut. So you just sit here, tie a knot. There's the bottom one. Tie it to the middle one, just like so. Tie it in a knot. That takes care of that one. And then one more to the very top. So you're tying every 2 starting at the bottom, and don't skip. So you have 1 at the bottom, 1 in the middle that takes the 2 in the middle into account, and then 1 at the very top that takes row 2 and row 1. And then you just push them in to the ones you've already done, just like so. Again, when you flip it over, it's developing that woven pattern, which looks really amazing. Because when you look at the back of this wreath when it's done, it looks just as gorgeous as the front does. But it makes that nice appearance for people who are like, well, if I hung this on the front of my storm door, it's pretty ugly looking. On this case, it actually looks really pretty. So I just fold it so that it gives me more of a color to the top that I want to see than the bottom. So just like so. And you can just keep moving them down. So you, go ahead.
Susan asked, does it matter which side the fold is on?
No, not at all. I just liked folding it because it kept the wrong side of the material from being so prevalent. So I just keep pushing them together. And then sometimes when you flip it over, you might get one of the ones where, let me see if I can make it do this. You get one of your ties that goes in. All you have to do is just scooch them out, push your ties back over, and then scooch all your pieces back in. So just like so. So you should have 3, 6, I need 1 more. And I've actually caught myself where I was binge watching maybe way too much TV and skipped one. The good thing is you just move the ones out of the way and go ahead, like if I had skipped one of the middle ones, Like watch.
So you go 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3, then 1, 2, 3, and you just keep going,
Right.
and you should get about 31 pieces to
Perfect.
fit in each one. So watch. I'm going to purposely skip the middle one because Shark Week was way too good, and I'm not paying attention, and I just think that I did that. So let me show you what it looks like when you skip it, because you can see it, and I guess people who knit or people who crochet can tell where they've missed.
Dana, so she said you should get about 31 ties per section.
Mm-hmm. You should. It just depends on how thick your fabric is, how you're tying it. But I averaged mine. Like I kept counting every section to make sure am I really getting 31 per? And yeah, I was. Because I was really afraid when I got to the thicker one, because I didn't really have exact measurements when I did the first one. I just kind of ballparked it. I'm like, I think it's 2 yards, 2 yards, and 2 yards. Okay, so.
Valerie said folding is a definite.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so look. Steve can zoom in, so let me squish these ones here. Okay. Can you zoom in on that, babe?
Yeah.
Right here, it's apparent I missed one because there's a hole in that section because I purposely skipped the middle section because I was binge watching TV and I wasn't paying attention because it should be a pattern going up and down all the way through, and you're like, duh, now I have to take those off. No, you don't. You just move the 3 away that we just did. So I'm going to pull these ones away, and I know that the inner is the third one, so I just move that one out of the way.
Linda, that's really weird. It might be a Facebook glitch because we're actually plugged straight in through the Ethernet. So maybe it just could be a Facebook glitch or a Wi-Fi glitch on your side, or more than likely it's probably a Facebook glitch.
So I just spread those ones apart, and I'm going right back to the middle, and I added the one where I skipped it. So I push it back and then push the other ones back in. And if I flip it over.
Yeah, Linda, try going back out, closing it out, and coming back in.
I'm just popping my holes in here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Oh, I skipped another one.
Susan said it would be cool with flannel. Yeah, it would.
Yes, I want to do flannel. Definitely. I skipped another one too. I skipped one in the middle when I was setting this up. So I'm going to go and put that one back in, and then we should have the perfect pattern again. I didn't think I did, but apparently I did. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so now we have our pattern going all the way in. You can kind of tell when your tails tuck in. All you have to do is just put your finger in them and pull them back out because they have a tendency of getting in the way. But you would just keep doing this in each section and then go to the next section, go to the next section, and just keep going all the way around. And you should. What you might have is some pieces that maybe they kind of got tied a little funky. You can come back in and just take out some of the long pieces, perhaps. Based on how you tied it, it wasn't exactly perfect. So if you have some longer pieces, you can come back in and give them a haircut. But do you guys have any questions on that?
Lynn said how many sections? So obviously on the 14-inch, there's 6 sections.
Yeah, there's 6 sections on this one.
And there's about 31 ties per section, so.
Yeah, and I'll show you, I am all but the final section done, and this is all the material that I had left.
You're gonna have around 186 ties.
Yeah, depending on if you go 1.5 inch or if you want 2 inches. So I did 1.5 inches on mine, and when you get to your section, it should look like this. So this did 1 section, did 2, did 3, did 4, did 5. When you flip it over, you have your woven pattern, which looks amazing. So this looks really nice on either side. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna finish up the final section, which is exactly what I showed you guys how to do. It doesn't matter which side you start with. Because obviously if you started this way, you're going to continue the exact same way that you did.
So for this one, Connie asked, 2 yards of fabric will complete the entire wreath.
Yeah, you'll have just a little bit left over, but like I said, it's good to have a little left over because knowing that this only took 2 yards and literally this is all I had, plus this was left, I was like, wow, I hope that I calculated it correctly for the bigger wreath where it's going to be twice as full, twice as thick. I was hoping, are we going to have enough fabric? Because if so, I need to figure that out before everyone else buys their fabric. And then they're all counting on me to be accurate and I'm off.
And Linda, this is a Dollar Tree wreath form, for a 14-inch wreath frame form.
Yeah, and you can use any wreath form that you want. Technique is exactly the same.
But if you go up in size, you'll have to use probably more fabric.
Yeah, you will. So I'm just going to finish this last section so we can technically finish this wreath.
And you kind of need to make sure you have 4 rails.
You don't have to. It won't show the woven pattern as much if it only has 3.
Gotcha.
But you can still pull that off. It'll just be really thin. So again, I'm just pushing them in. So I'm just going to finish this section with you guys. And this is a nice wreath that you can prep all your materials. You can cut your entire 2 yards of fabric, get all your strips together,
Yep.
and
So Esther and Cindy, just to recap really quick, it's a 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath form. She cut her strips off of her 2 yards to 1.5 inches wide by 8 inches long. And then she's taking each 8-inch tie and going between sections 3 and 4. She's tying it twice to make a knot, and then she's doing the next one between sections 2 and 3 tying a knot, and then the next one between sections 1 and 2 tying a knot, and then she pushes them all the way close to each other and just keeps doing it that way.
Yep, that's all you keep doing is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and then like I said, God, for both the last 2 days I've cut all my material, and then I've just sat on the couch and just sat here and tied fabric strips to these rails so that you guys wouldn't have to sit here and watch me tie the entire thing all the way through.
Yep, Linda, I think I just repeated it. It's 1.5 inches by 8-inch strips.
Yep.
Liz asked you, what do you decorate your wreath with?
We're just you could decorate it with quite a bit on this one because it is a little thinner. These make the perfect storm door wreaths because number one, they're so universal. They're pretty thin, but they're still very colorful. And then you don't have to worry about this sitting up against the storm door. And then look at how gorgeous the back is. So once we finish this, we're actually going to add a bow to it. You could add some fall picks to it if you want. It's entirely up to you. I'm just going to keep it simple and just add a simple bow to it. So.
Hi Donna, thank you for the birthday wishes, everybody. And Donna.
Oh yeah, Steve's birthday. He turned the grand 50 today.
Yeah.
I was like, how's it feel? 50,
right.
Half a century.
Oh Marty, hey Marty, yeah, I'm having a good birthday. I was just relaxing at home, didn't really have any plans today. Tomorrow we're gonna go to the movies.
Simply too hot.
It's too hot
today.
to do anything, yeah.
It is really, and then there's a fire down the pass from us, which is how we would generally get to go down the hill to do anything. That's what we call it, down the hill.
Yep. Marty, unless you want to come pick us up in one of your planes, I would gladly go for a plane ride.
In a B-17. Yeah. So as you guys see, I'm just sitting here folding them in half. And this is so relaxing to sit and do in front of the TV with all your fabric sits. You know, I just kind of have it sitting on the arm of my couch. And because in this case, I'm only doing one color, I don't have to worry about what color did I just do? Did I mess it up? Do I have to go back and look like we're doing on the thicker wreath? We did 3 different color fabrics for that. So you do kind of have to pay attention to your color patterns.
Brenda, cotton fabric or any type of fabric this would work for.
I cannot wait to make this out of a really nice, you know, fall flannel color or even a Christmas flannel color. This is the great use for all the fabric that a lot of people say they have sitting in their closets, like we do. We have tubs of fabric that Steve's mom sent down.
And this is just one fabric. This is just one type of fabric. It's a fall fabric.
Yeah, I just want something that's pretty vibrant.
Orange with different color leaves.
Go down.
So it's just, for this one, this is just one type of fabric. And thank you everybody for the birthday wishes.
You could legitimately alternate your fabric. You could pick, you know, something that has a little bit of a yellow pattern to it, something that has some orange and browns to it. You could do it definitely alternating.
Yeah, you could do 3 different patterns.
You could.
3 different.
I just made this simple because I was like, okay, a lot of us have 2 yards of fabric sitting around. This is where on Pinterest, if you see people who take the military uniforms or their police uniforms and they make this rag wreath out of it, this is exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
So.
And gals and guys, no, we're nowhere close to the fires.
Nope.
The major fires is up in Redding, which is Northern California, and we're Southern California. We have a small fire in the pass near us, but it's about an hour away, and there's no issues there, so we're good.
Yeah, we've never had an issue. We're in the middle of the desert where there's nothing grows. I can attest to that. There's nothing out there. We don't have any mountains that are fairly close to us. I think the closest mountains are like 40 minutes away from us to get to the mountains.
Yep. Teresa, I know you just joined. You can watch the replay, but she's tying the ties not on every ring, but she's tying them on every 2. So on 3 and 4, she's tying together. And then she's tying together at 2 and 3, and then she's tying together at 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So it makes like a 3-piece kind of woven look on the back of it.
Yeah, and I'm just poking the ones through because as you're getting into that final section, you'll find that you kind of tie them into one another.
Maybe there's about 31 strips per section.
Yes.
And there's 6 sections on this 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame.
So, and I keep trying to keep the pieces out of the way so that when you're tying them, you don't tie the next piece into your knot. So,
We'll zoom in a bit.
But this is a really amazing thing to make while you're just sitting in front of the TV. You know, all you're doing is just tying knots over and over and over and over again until you complete the entire thing. And then you can look at it and decide, do you want to add a bow to it? There's some people on Etsy who don't add anything to it. They just let the rag wreath speak for itself. So it's entirely up to you how you want to embellish it. So I'm getting down to my final pieces. So, do you guys have any other questions?
We're answering as they're asking.
Okay.
There's still people joining on, so that's why we're kind of having to repeat it.
Repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I actually had the perfect system set up where I took my wreath frame and I actually wedged it in between my end table and the arm of my couch so that I just had this much. It was like literally sitting like this in my lap so that it made tying the knots so much easier. As you get closer to completing it, you're gonna have a lot to push out of the way and just keep tying your knots. You have the ones from one section kind of bleeding over into the other. So there's one, middle. And you guys won't be talking to people and explaining this while you're working. So you can actually pay attention and go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Slide them. And it's easy. Like I usually, so I don't forget, I usually leave the one section that I just tied at the top until I grab my next piece. So like this one got in.
Thanks everybody for joining. Happy Friday.
Yes.
We got a couple of
Friday.
first time. Amy said first time watching, you love your wreaths.
Thank you, Amy. So we're just, like I said, this is how much I have left. This is the amount of fabric I have left. So I'm not worried about it. So as you can tell, it's going to 2 yards of fabric will be more than enough.
Yep.
And then you can plan accordingly. Obviously, if you're going to do 2 different pattern colors, then you only need a yard of each fabric.
Yeah, Dawn said she's using a twin flat sheet to cut strips.
Oh, very
and
cool.
she's actually tying like cinnamon strips or cinnamon sticks in it too.
You totally could do that. Ooh, thanks
Great
for the
idea.
tip. I know, right? For a fall wreath, definitely tying in some
Yeah.
cinnamon would be wonderful.
Valerie said she's added little small things, like one was a red truck.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
You definitely can. So
Treasures,
this, go ahead.
Trisha said, how much would you charge for something like this?
On this one, I think my materials cost, because really, think about it, materials, Dollar Tree wreath frame, my time, and then whatever the fabric and ribbon will be. I want to say like 40 is what I would charge for this one. The bigger ones, obviously, because there's more involved, takes a lot more. This one's more labor intensive because you're physically doing all the labor to create the look. But yeah, I think there's some people who were selling them, I was pricing them on Etsy, like 35. 35 was pretty much the average, but they weren't putting anything on them. They just basically tied all the material and left it like this, and that was it.
Faye asked, just tuned in, how can I get directions?
To what we're doing?
Yeah. So you could join our private group.
Private group gets all the materials list for everything we create. That's $17 a month, and you can sign up for that. When the video is over, it'll actually be posted to the top. Because I think right now this video pushes everything to the top when you go live.
Plus this will get posted at the end of the Facebook Live onto her Cats Creations page. So you can always watch the replay for directions.
Because we pretty much tell you, it's just 2 yards of fabric cut into 1.5 inch strips, 8 inches long.
Yeah.
And then you just tie them on your rails.
Sharon says she loves the pattern on the back almost as much as the front.
So do I. I know. Kaylee said that too. When I showed her, she's like, oh my God, I don't know which one I like better. I could go either way.
Esther, the cutting mat is, I think, it's 24 inches by 36 inches.
It is.
You can get it from Walmart or Michael's or anywhere.
Yeah. You can even get them at Hobby Lobby.
And use a coupon.
Use a coupon. I just don't know who has the cheapest one right now. So I'm just about finished.
Marie said she used one using tulle. That would be interesting.
That is, I know. We're going to be doing that because I have an entire tub full of tulle. So I'm like, we're going to use that up. We're going to finish that.
Karen asked, do you have the blue material that you made the snowman rag wreath, or did you recently purchase it? If so, can you tell me where? We've had the material for a while.
Yeah, a long,
like a couple years.
Like more than 10 years is how long I've had that fabric. Because I wanted to originally make a snowman quilt out of it.
I think we got it at Joann's.
Yeah, or, because I'll have to look, because I think they include the little white marks on the bottom usually will tell you the fabric number. I'd have to look and see if I have any.
Yeah.
But it's like three different snowmen fabric, or one was just snowflakes, and the other was, 2 were snowmen. One was a recipe for how to build a snowman, and then the other was like a snowman comic kind of thing.
Yep.
Snowflake, snowman comic, and a recipe.
And Lee, this is 2 yards. 2 yards will do the whole wreath.
See, and you see I'm like getting way down into the last of my...
And this one is a little bit thinner. She's showing you this technique.
2 different ways of making it.
Valerie Barry was actually really nice and showed
Valerie
her
was my lifesaver.
this one, and then she showed her the other one that's really full that she's going to show you here in a little bit.
Yeah, this was my first attempt through following a YouTube video of someone doing it this way, and I thought, I liked the pattern. I liked the woven pattern on the back.
Yep.
So for me, I'm all about trying to make sure that I have everything. Like, can I squeeze one more in that last section? And this one, I usually can squeeze one more on the very, very bottom.
Gail, thank you very much for the birthday wishes. Yes.
I know, we're taking him out to dinner later.
Yeah.
We had Caitlin here this morning. She just went back up to Modesto, but she was down for her birthday.
Teresa?
And Steve's.
Teresa, that's a great idea. She said she would like to do this with her dad's hunting shirts. He passed away 4 years ago.
There's a lot of people who
for
do
a
these.
great keepsake.
Yes.
Yep.
That's why I said a lot of people do them with the military and police uniforms, so that they have a way of keeping something in their home that reminds them of. See, and I'm really pushing these back to try to finish and thicken that last section up.
Yep. Anita, yes, we cut all the strips with our
Rotary
mat and using the rotary cutter. So.
And multiple blades.
And be prepared, yeah. You're cutting so many strips that you dull the blade a little bit.
Yeah, so I went out and actually bought a heavy duty cutter. Was extraordinarily disappointed, Fiskars, that it did not last as long as I had wanted, and had to go back down to a different blade because I had bought the replacement blades, but I wasn't thinking when I bought them that it was for a much smaller rotary cutter. So I'm doing my last one in here.
Valerie said her wreaths, when she adds signs to it,
Mm-hmm.
run between 45 to 55.
Yeah, and I
That's
think
a
that's
good
what she had said.
Thank you, Jane. She said you're a great team. You really complement each other. And happy birthday.
See, look, I pretty much ran this right down except for the little bit that I used right there. And I still have, I mean, if I had to, I could probably cut another 15 pieces. So this one really took it down to 2 yards is perfect.
Faye said worth every penny.
Thank you.
And then Linda Sawyer said, how many times do you meet on your private group?
God. Okay, we meet Monday morning for goal setting. Wednesdays are business coaching class. It's basically our time to talk about anything else that isn't really related to the tutorials. And then we do Sunday nights at 5.
Yeah.
So, and then we're also going to incorporate a book, because we're doing it's like a book club, but it's basically on perspective and how not to let certain things really, it changes the way you see things. So actually,
yes, you can share this. All of you can share this.
Share away.
Please share away. That'd be appreciated. This is on the public.
So as you guys can see, this is what it looks like when you're all done. And this is what you will tell customers to do when they get their wreath. I mean, look, it's going to fit in a totally perfect box, you know, 16 by 16 by 4. I don't think they do 14-inch boxes, but you probably could put this in a pizza box.
Although you wouldn't want to.
It's about 2 inches, 3 inches thick.
This
So
is great
it's
for a storm
perfect
door.
for the storm door. And this is what you tell customers to do to fluff it. This is it.
Donna, no, we don't launder the material first before cutting it.
I don't. You could.
You could, but then you'd have to really iron everything out.
I'm not about ironing.
And depending upon how, you know, thin or stretchy the material is, you might even have to
Yeah.
starch it.
Yeah. But the less work, the better, obviously. I think when I did my snowman, because the material had sat for so long, I had to iron all the wrinkles out. So we're gonna actually add a bow, and I pulled these 2 different colors. So I think they complement the wreath without losing the continuity in the bow. And I kind of like those ideas that they threw out. You could add some fall picks to this. So I don't want to go too big on my bow. So I'm going to keep my tails 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8 inches. Okay, so I'm going to do 8-inch tails. So to dovetail our ribbon, we take our wired edges, we put them together, and we cut from the folded side to the point of our ribbon, like so. So we have a perfect dovetail. And then we knew that we're going 8 inches. So I use my Bodabra because it's just what I'm familiar with. You can create your bow on anything you want, but we don't want like a super full bow, because this is kind of a simple wreath, and because we said it was perfect for a storm door, we don't want to do a super huge big bow, because then you'd have to smash the bow in order to get it to to fit on a storm door. But you could do like a nice burlap orange bow with some like gingham fabric.
Yep. Glenna, these are 1.5 inch by 8 inch strips of length.
And so this is a 2.5 inch. What is this one came from? This one came from Joann's. This is Joann's fall. And I think this is Joann's fall this year. So this one's like got a brown, a little bit of green in it. So I'm just gonna put a 2-loop bow on each side. That's what I call them, when I just put 2 loops on each side.
150. Nancy, no problem about joining late. You can always go back and watch the replay. And then Cindy, this is also in the replay, but there's about 31 ties or strips per section.
Just like this.
And there's 6 sections. Yep.
So look, even when we flip it over, the back of that is just so pretty.
It is pretty.
I mean, it's almost like basket weaving in a sense,
Yeah.
to do that. So let me dovetail this one, and then I'm going to put my orange in there. Orange, yeah. This is just a plain orange canvas, just to kind of tie that last color in. And like I said, you can put in a couple fall picks with some pumpkins. Because our bow went in on this side, or our tail, we're starting our tail on this side, and I'm going to go a little bit shorter. And my loops are going to be a little smaller. And this is 1.5 inch ribbon. This came from Craft Outlet. Because the one thing that I notice as a wreath maker we have a tendency of doing is we will buy patterned ribbon, but we will never buy plain ribbon. And sometimes you just need something subtle to tone down all that pattern. And so it's nice to have some basic, straight, colored ribbon.
So what size are your loops on this one?
The bottom one was 4 inches. And then these ones I will measure.
A little bit smaller.
Yeah, these ones are going just a touch smaller. They're 3.
And then your tails are about 6.
The bottom tail was 8. And so these ones are probably coming up about 6 inches. So again, I do the smaller ones, or the thinner ribbon, go a little bit smaller, so that it'll kind of sit together really nice. And then pipe cleaner. So we just take our pipe cleaner, make a little U out of it. I'm gonna pick up my bow.
That's a great idea, Esther. She says she's gonna basically start using her leftover scrubs.
Yes. You can definitely make something. You can even do it like for your child's, you know, not a memorial wreath, but you know, just remembering like your kid's favorite outfit that they wore when they were little.
Yeah.
You can definitely do something like that. So this is our bow, and I'm just going to attach it. And the nice thing about this is because we skipped every other, like we did, we wired together.
Yeah.
This one, and this one, when we go between them, we can actually go right between where we need it to go.
Yep, Donna, I think both these ribbons are from Joann's.
No.
No?
Ribbon?
Yeah.
The orange came from Craft Outlet. This one came from Joann's.
Okay.
Just to help. So I want...
Gianna sets up Bodabra, bowmaker.
Yeah. So I have my bow situated where I want it to be. So I just want it to be simple. There's something about simplicity that where it does not have to be an overdone thing.
Charlene said when you're all done, can you flip it over to the back again?
Yes, I will. I know, I love the back side
You know what's
too.
interesting is I wonder if you could almost tie the back in the front and make it look like the woven wreath on the front.
You probably could. I don't think anyone's done that. I think this one's a little too long, so I'm going to cut this one a little shorter.
That would be a really pretty design.
You could do that. You definitely could. So let me flip. Okay, so there's our simple wreath. So obviously I would take this, twist this, trim it off. Get my trimmers. I didn't pull those out. And then been trying to actually finish my wreaths. Most of the time I'm like, I just push it all up there and take my pictures, then we do our thing, and we're out. Take all these pieces. Okay, so this is what it looks like when it's finished. And then for those of you that want to see the back, that's what the back looks like. So yeah, you probably could, but it would just be a really flat wreath, babe. Like this pattern in the front.
Right.
You wouldn't have anything, it would just be flat.
Still really pretty.
It is. So there we go. That's exactly what it looks like. If we put it up here, so you can actually see it on a full-size door.
Esther, the bow maker is simply just the Bodabra bow maker. You can get it at Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby. It's normally about $15.99. You can use a 40 or 50% off coupon and get it pretty cheap.
So what do you guys think of that one? Pretty easy to do, right? That one literally will take you an hour to an hour and a half to finish doing all your tying, and then you're done.
Yeah, but it also takes you about an hour to cut all the strips.
Well, it takes you a lot longer to cut all the strips.
Yeah.
Especially when you have a difficult rotary cutter who does not want to cooperate with you. So if you had something that works really nice, that would be amazing.
Charlene, she's going to keep going, and she's going to do another one here in a minute.
Yep.
You can always watch the replay and go back to the beginning, but you'll see what she's doing on the next one. This one she tied between two sections.
Yeah, I don't even have any more fabric here.
3 and 4, and
This
then
is
2
all
and
I
3, and then 1 and 2.
This is literally all I had left. So yeah, we start here, then we go here, and then we go the 2 in. And you just keep doing that all the way around. Always wiring or tying knots in, and you have to go the full knot. Here, 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 and then just keep going up and down, up and down, up and down until you get your pattern.
Carol, we have the same birthday. Happy birthday.
Very cool. So this is all I have left with that out of 2 yards of fabric. So this fabric came from Joann's, so if you guys love the fabric, it's just acorn leaves and acorns. So this actually wasn't that expensive. So now we're going to show you the one that Valerie showed me, which is, because I'm giving credit to Valerie, Berry, B-E-A-R-Y. So I'm going to grab another wreath frame. Let me get rid of this color and bring my scraps. Fabric scraps.
Right? The bow on the door is very beautiful, or the wreath on the door.
Okay, so this is the next one. This one will make a wreath that is probably, I want to say 3 times as thick and as wide. It's just very full.
About twice as wide, and very thick.
It's very, very full. So I'm going to show you how to do this one. And it's the exact same thing. All my strips of fabric, and I did Jack Skellington fabric. So we have the black and white with the Jack, the many faces of Jack. And this has all the characters from Nightmare Before Christmas. They're all cut the same, 1.5 inch strips by 8 inches long. And then I just opted for, it's like a ombre black, and it has little bats on it, because Jack's bow tie is a bat.
Yep.
So these were my color choices, and actually this was my color combination when I tied them on. So again, 14-inch Dollar Tree wreath frame. Make sure you go all the way around your rim, and make sure you don't have any broken welds like right here. So I use these for my demos. So you just don't want to get all the way around and go, and then all your pieces just roll off your fabric or your rails.
Yep.
So for this one, you want to take your fabric, exact same method, to a certain degree. We fold it in half because I like seeing more of the right side of the fabric than the wrong. So on this one, we're going each individual rail. So you're going to start on the inside. So with rail 1. Is that right? Let me think.
Carol said happy
Yes.
birthday to you as well. She's
Inside first,
older.
then outside. Okay.
Carol, I just hit the big 50 today.
Yeah. So, and then you're just going to keep going all the way around your rails. For this one, I picked 3 different fabrics. So you're just going to stay on the same rail until you go all the way around the wreath. So again, Shark Week's on this week.
You know,
Grab your fabric. Yes. On this one, you don't have to do the double knot. You just want to make sure that when you're tying it, good point, thanks for bringing that up, babe. You only tie it once. You don't need to tie it again because it's going to be on there and it's not going to come off.
Janice just said a little bit ago, great way to get back into crafting. She loves it.
There you go. So, like I said, you cut all your fabric, you sit down in your chair, and you just sit here and you just tie and just keep going all the way around.
Right, Nancy? She said, never made one of these, but I am anxious to try it. Looks great.
Oh, they're going to be so gorgeous.
And Valerie said, thank you for the shout out.
Of course. And Valerie was amazing because I was like, I did that style, and then I was looking at Valerie's and I'm like, why is mine so thin? I want something that's thick. And I pull up all these things on Pinterest, and I can't figure out why my wrist is coming in thin. Am I tying it wrong? What am I doing? Am I not putting enough fabric in my strips? And she's like, no, you just, different technique. So I just figured we'd teach you both. This one will take you longer because you're going, you know, rail by rail by rail, all the way around.
Janice, she doesn't really do live alerts, but if you just click like and follow, I can't talk. Like and follow, you should at least get the notifications.
And then, yeah, what generally happens is when you click on the live, it says, want to be notified when I go live again, and you just click the yes. Or someone says there's a little bell at the top of the live, and you just click on the bell. I guess it's the notification bell.
Hi, Mona. She says new here. Welcome.
Is this one right? Welcome, Mona. So as you guys can see.
So click like and follow, and you can actually share this on your page, so it'll actually share to your page.
Yes, you can. So on this one, I think I actually started counting just to make sure I wasn't going to have enough material. This is how much I actually had left when I finished my wreath. Well, it's not finished, obviously.
And Valerie says she usually goes around and works to the outer, so she does the same. She works.
Yes, that I'm doing
starts on the inner, works
I'm
on
doing
the
the Valerie technique because I was like, I want to make sure. Yes, and it's easier, I think, like Valerie says, to start inner and then go outer, rather than start on the outer and try to go inside, because then you're trying to tie all this stuff while there's already so much bulk. It's easier to work as you go out and then just kind of push the bulk on the inside.
Yep. Valerie also said, yes, tightly bunched.
Yes, very tightly bunched. So I think on the first rail I can get about 18 in each section. And as you can see...
On each rail then, right?
Yeah, on each rail.
Okay.
Well, not on each rail, because as each rail goes out, you're adding, it's going a little wider.
Gotcha.
So that by the outside one, I think it was like 28 or 31 to the little knots on the bottom. So you are using quite a bit more fabric. But you can see that, like, if you left it spaced, it's fine, but like Valerie's saying, you really, in order to get the thickness that you're looking for, you really need to take your knots
and
push them out of the way, because it looked like I was almost finished on that section.
So Julie asked amount of fabric for this one.
Okay, you will need 6 yards, maybe 5.5, because this is what I have left, and I only have one rail to go on the one that I'll show you. Is
so still 2 yards of each color to be safe.
Yeah, or if you pick one,
colors,
yeah, you want to make sure that you have about 6 yards.
Right.
It just depends on how thick you cut your strips, how hard you tie your knots. But like Valerie told me, if you tie your knots tight enough, you don't have to worry about them, like the fabric coming loose. So as you can tell, these go on really, really well.
So Brenda, she's not really doing per section, she's doing per rail because she's tying them on each rail.
Yes.
So she said on the inner one, she says it's about 18.
And then it goes, I think, to like 24.
Or 22, and then 24, then 28.
Yeah, because when you go to rail 2, it's going to be a little bit more than what rail 1 is, and then rail 3 is going to be a little bit more than what you just finished off.
Yep.
So, and then I just what you would do in this case is once you get down to your last section, I can probably 2 more.
Hi everybody, just
try
joining.
to squeeze 2 more in.
So Lynn, yes, this is all 4 rails, so this takes quite a bit of time to do. This is probably 2 or 3 times as long as it takes the other one.
It does. But, so once you cut all your material, so if it takes you an hour and a half to cut your material, you're going to triple that because you have 3 times the amount of material.
Don, yeah, so Kat's got 3 different colors and each one takes 2 yards, so this takes pretty much close to 6 yards.
But as you can see, it's going to be a lot fluffier. So this is just on rail 1. So what you would do is you would keep going all the way around rail 1. Yep. Then once you complete rail 1, what you're going to do is you're going to take your material, like these little wisps of fabric. You're going to take them and pull them back, and you're going to kind of keep them out of your way, and then you're going to start rail 2. Yep. All the way around. All the way around to rail 2.
And do the same thing.
Push them out of the way, and do rail 3, and then push them out of the way, and do your final row. And then when you're done, it's going to create another cool pattern on the back, but that was that. So that's our starter, and then we have our finisher.
Mona, the strips are 1.5 inches wide by 8 inches long, just like the other one.
Exactly.
And then Judy, yeah, we just said it, basically 2 yards of fabric per each color, and she did 3 different colors.
This is what it's going to look like.
Ta-da!
Way bigger. Way fluffier, and it feels so nice because everyone who sees them, that's the first thing they do. They want to it's so fluffy and thick.
It was literally a nightmare. Get it?
No. So I do have to finish up my last rail. So I'm going to show you what it looks like once I get these all out of the way, because this will be your pattern. Here's my last rail I have to finish. So I'm going to show you what the back looks like once we push these guys out of the way. So it's just the ins and the outs that kind of fold over. So let me show you. That's what it looks like. So here's all your knots all the way around, and then this is all your fluff. This is what you can make your garland with. So if you go to Target or Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Dollar Tree, and you buy a set of lights that you plug in, what you can do is this technique along the wire in between the lights. And then when it's done, you could totally take this and make this a draped garland that all has lights in it. Or you can put it on your fireplace, or you can dress up your windows with it. So that's an option you have. So it's the same thing, tying knots between each light on the wire, and then you're good to go. So we're going to finish up my last rail, which is right here. Yep. So Valerie, this is my last section. And then when you get to this section, it's like a pain. It's because you want it, again, you're pushing your fabric out of the way so that you don't tie it into your knots. And then we're going to keep going. So I left off with orange. It's the same pattern I started here. Exact same thing. Yep. You're putting it in, and I'm just holding it up because it's easier to do it this way.
Yeah, Libby, this one would be so much more thick and fluffy. It probably would not be a good choice for a barn door or a storm door.
Unless it's got some, it depends. Depends on how thick they're, because some people storm doors are like...
But the smaller one you just did earlier would be great for a storm door.
Yes. Yeah. So again, I think the outside rail takes, for me, I was counting, I actually counted them. So I was like, oh, is this going to be enough? Yes, obviously I had enough.
Oh, awesome, Donna. She said these are the first wreaths she learned how to make about 4 years ago.
See? So you just keep doing it, sliding it.
Trisha said price point.
Price point for this one, I think, is $55 to $60. Because all I'm doing is just this. This fabric was expensive. I didn't even think about that. I was like, oh, I just want the fabric. So this fabric was what, $11.99 a yard.
So you're still folding it in half when you're doing your ties?
Yes, because I want to see the outside print. I want to see all the jack faces, because that's what Steve was saying. When you do that, you're not going to be able to see all the print. I'm like, yeah, you will. Watch. So you can see all Jack's faces. So this was a more expensive fabric.
Joanne's, oh yeah, fireplace garland. Yep, that'd be great.
Wouldn't this?
Yeah.
I don't think
So Mary Jane, yeah, she just answered your question. She does fold the strips in half and then ties them.
Yes, because I want to see the print. I want to see more of the right side of the fabric than the wrong side. So we're just going through and I'm just alternating orange jack, black jack, bats. Orange jack, black jack, bats. So literally I sat here and I was doing this while we were watching some movie last night.
Yeah.
So I was like, I just have to finish this, just one little section, then we'll put a bow on it, and then it'll be done.
Hi Mona, welcome. She's from Louisiana.
So I love this.
Yeah,
one.
Valerie said about $60.
Yeah, with if you think about the fabric, what is that? I wasn't even thinking until I was like walking out of the house today. I'm like, how much money did I spend on fabric for that wreath? And I was like, it was $11.99, and then you got my 20% off my total, but it was 30% off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's not really 50% off, because you can never truly factor that.
Audra said she likes the fuller one along with the 3 prints.
Yes.
And then Brenda said you should charge more. That is a lot of time consuming on that one.
It is, but I can't. For me, why can I not sell this on Etsy? People in my group know why. Backed myself into a corner with this one, but I can sell it privately.
Right.
My group will know why you cannot post this on Etsy. Going. Has anyone answered yet?
Kind of. So Susan said, so you could get away with using trademark fabric like what you're doing?
Yes, you can.
You can.
You just can't advertise you're selling it.
Advertise you're selling it, and you
On
can't
your Etsy
state
store.
that it's a Nightmare Before Christmas wreath.
Yeah, well, you wouldn't tag it that it's a Nightmare Before Christmas, because then technically you're using the trademark
Copyright.
image
Yep.
that I don't own rights to
That's
sell
right.
the product.
That's right, Susan.
But-
She said, yep, because it's trademarked and copyrighted. Yep.
Yeah, but people can ask you, could you make a wreath like that with like jack fabric? Absolutely. You just cannot advertise
You're selling it.
you're selling it. But yes, you can make them. That's how places like Hobby Lobby get away with selling Marvel signs, Star Wars signs, because they're thinking they're one-time use only. Like the customers buying them for their use. Just like our customers are buying these for a one-time use. But because we are selling them, we can't solicit them. But we can show you how to make them.
Cheryl said, love to watch you craft. Explains everything so well. What are the
Yeah.
sizes of the strips again?
These are 1.5 inches wide by 8 inches long. You could make them 9 inches if you wanted a little bit longer look to them.
Yep.
And I'm almost getting down.
That's awesome, Madonna. She said she learned how to make this type of wreath when I was a teenager, along with the hook rugs
Ooh.
back in the 70s from her mother's scrap fabrics.
Yes, absolutely. See, and again, you're doing the same thing. You're going to want to push that out of the way so you can come back in and finish off that final section. And there is no way, I mean, I guess you could really skimp on this if you didn't knot it very well and just kind of left them a little loose.
Yep.
But a true rag wreath should be thick.
Arlene, she's just folding the 1.5 inches in half, so it becomes basically 3/4 of an inch when she ties the knot.
Yeah.
But it's still 8 inches long.
Yeah, it doesn't go anywhere.
Sharon, how do you know if something's trademarked?
There is, and I will get it, there is a website that you can go to, and it's crazy. The stuff that is trademarked now, like the terms, like we cannot use the words shabby chic in any of our Etsy descriptions because somebody has actually licensed the term shabby chic.
Yep.
But you're gonna pretty much know, like, obviously if it's a Disney print, if it's Marvel, Star Wars, you know, you can pick these up, you can make them, for your friends and family or for people who want a custom wreath from you.
Yep.
You just sell it to them that way, but you can't advertise that you're selling it. That's the key word.
Yeah, Sharon, more than likely, anything that's a trademark is usually a character or a title like Star Wars or Disney.
Right.
Or something that already, has been trademarked or copyrighted that there's a pretty well common brand.
And you got to watch too, like if you're posting stuff on Etsy, the, you cannot use the words Tiffany blue to describe the color blue that you're using on your wreath, because women know what Tiffany blue is. So you want to make sure that that's not included in your tag, because Tiffany will search for people using their terms and send them a cease and desist letter. It's not what you want to have.
Yeah.
So it's just not worth it.
Carolyn, yeah, she got the two jack fabrics at about $11.95 a yard, but they were on 30% off sale. And then the other one was only like $5.99 a yard. That was like $1.50 off sale. So altogether, she got her fabric for about $22 to $24.
You think?
Just for the fact, yeah.
I think it was more than that.
No, because when you got the fabric behind you on the other wreath, that was $5, and the total came to $29 something for all four.
But okay, it's your birthday today. I'll let you be. I'll let you be right.
So this one you're selling for about 60 or 65, right?
This one is selling for 55. So if you're interested,
that one should be more.
Message me now, because all I'm going to do is put a bow on it. And I've had so many people ask me, "Oh my God, where did you find jack fabric?"
Yeah.
We didn't find it last year, because I would have done a jack quilt.
And it was at Joann's.
It was at Joann's, yeah. So I'm going to put one more in here, just to thicken it up. And I think that's about it. Then I'm going to be able to really squeeze in right here. And then it's done, and we'll add our bow. So I'm going to take these and flip these back to the outside. This is all the stuff I was working on. So I'm going to flip them back to the outside. So here's our, I'll move these. This is exactly what I had left out of 6 yards of each. And it's weird how I had more of that, really not as much of the bat fabric as the others, but along with that, it was enough for me to finish. So technically, if I wanted to, I could probably do some Jack Garland with the scraps I've left on a small piece of.
Carol said, for example, if I said Mima's Heroes for superheroes, or am I too close? Carol, you can actually say superheroes. Superheroes is not trademark.
It's not a trademark.
But you cannot say Marvel superheroes,
exactly.
or you cannot say the
DC
name.
Comics.
Right,
or
you cannot
Batman
say the name
fabric.
of the superhero. Right.
Yeah, anything that people are going to automatically know and make a correlation to, you know, they know just by that name, like Hello Kitty. You can't use that. John Deere.
Yep.
Tractors, you don't even have to use the word John Deere. Just if you have a tractor with a yellow seat and yellow wheels, it's trademarked. A green tractor with a yellow seat and yellow wheels is trademarked to John Deere, which is interesting.
And that is true. Kathy brought up a good point. Is actually on the white edges of the fabric, it usually has the trademark symbol on it.
Yeah, it does.
Yep.
The copyright
Yep.
that we cut off.
Yep, that we cut off.
Right. So you could totally use this. This could go, looking at that other thing, I'm going to still put a bow on it. But like, you could totally use this as a centerpiece. This goes back to our centerpiece type of thing with the hurricane lamp. You could use it as a centerpiece.
Yeah, if you had a
for a Halloween party.
Halloween candle, yeah.
Just change the orange out. So we're going to add a bow to this one. And I think we were doing...
This is 6 yards total, so it's 2 yards of each color. She went with 3 colors.
Yeah, I
so
did
just 6 yards total.
Yep. There was 2 yards of this, 2 yards of this, and then 2 yards of the jack, the faces of jack. So those were how I alternated my colors. So now we're going to add a bow to this one as well. So you can definitely see that this is a lot thicker. Trying to average this.
About
5
inches.
inches, yeah, about 5 inches
5
thick.
inches, yeah.
So we are going to do this fun. I don't even know what it's called. It's not really deco mesh, but it's just a really fun ribbon that I got from Rick Claiborne, his wife, when we went down to purchase some of her product. Karen, yeah. So they have this black fabric that I like, and it kind of goes with this, even though it's going to kind of get lost with the orange and black that we're going to pop in here. It's going to kind of tie it all together. So again, I'm going to dovetail cut my bow.
Shelly, the 2 witches that she has posted for sale?
Yes.
The witch wreaths?
They're not wreaths. They're just witches that go on a wreath. Remember that box that we went through today?
Yeah. She wanted to know how much. They're posted, aren't they?
I didn't post. I just said, make me an offer. Let me know. Yeah. I'm just pulling them out of a old Halloween box because I tried to sell this big box of Halloween stuff local because the box was so big. I think it was 2 feet by 2 feet by 3 feet high, filled with stuff. And these are the leftover pieces of that. So this obviously is not going to be enough.
Madonna, yeah, on this one, she's just also going to add a bow.
Yeah. I'm going to add some of this just for the effect. So this one's going to be about 10 inches because we're going a little bigger. Obviously, this has no right or wrong side of the fabric. And this material came from Paper Mart. So Paper Mart is an online retailer that you can purchase from. It's just kind of weird. I just like the texture. I'm just all about texture.
Yeah, you could do this with a college or pro sports team. You just can't advertise.
You can't advertise it.
But you can say it's a college football wreath. And obviously the colors would kind of give it away. You just can't say the sports name, the team name.
They would know.
Yeah.
Again, those are things that you just want to mention, not on social media, not through your Etsy store. Because, I mean, for a lot of us, Etsy is the only source for our sales right now. And the last thing you want to be shut down for is copyright infringement.
Yep.
Now, there are some people who can reach out to their local colleges and pay for the licensing fee for a year. So if you pay your local college to trademark or to produce their colored wreaths and you pay for it, you have the legal right to sell that wreath and those products because you paid for the licensing fee.
That's right.
In that case, make them and sell them like crazy.
Yeah, yes, the wreath frame was the same on both wreaths. The
14-inch Dollar Tree wreath.
Dollar Tree wreath frame, and it's only $1, and it's 4 rails, and there's 6 sections per.
It just made it so much easier. And so I'm going to do the same thing with this. It's kind of like a flannel material. So I'm going to add this.
Yep, she's 1.5 inches by 8 inches are the strips.
On both of them.
On both of them. Hi, Maureen.
So we're just making it super simple. So I was going to use bat fabric on here, or not bat fabric, but a bat ribbon. And I thought, no. Let's kind of mix it up a little bit.
So you could not say a frozen wreath if you use frozen material like from the movie.
You can't even reference that it's
Yeah.
you cannot use the word frozen in there at all. I think one of my wreaths actually said something alluding to the fact of frozen, but I could not use that term to describe, frozen winter, frozen lake, blah, blah, blah. Will I have enough? Yes. Just barely.
Yeah.
So this one's good. And this wire was last year Michael's.
Brenda asked, what's the loop size on these? So it's about 4 inches?
I will tell you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on the bottom, 4 on the top.
So
and
Brenda,
then the tails
5 on the bottom, 4 on the top. So it's a 10-inch full loop by 8 inches on the top. 10 inches on the bottom, 8 inches on the top.
And then the tail is 10 inches on the bottom, 8 inches on the patterned plaid. So again, I went a little bit smaller on both of them. And then we're going to add our pipe cleaner to hold it all together. And we're going to add a simple bow.
Yep.
Eeks.
Susan said Lauren Simmons bought a Trademark for a year, but said it wasn't worth it.
Yeah, it
So
just
that she could
depends
sell
if
off,
nobody's
right.
going to, yeah. And I remember she did for her local college and thinking that it would be a big, huge source of income, and really not many people wanted a wreath with their college colors on it.
Yeah.
Go figure. Because most people only want college colors while their son or daughter's in college,
Yeah.
and once they're out, they're like, I'm done with that.
Oh, thank you, Janet. She said, my first Cats Creations video and I have learned so much. Very informative and easy to follow.
Thank you. So again, because we went down every single rail, attaching our bow is going to be a snap because we just go right in between the knots where we want it to go. So I'm just kind of going, I'm guessing it's in between 2 and 3.
Janice, there you go. She said, who would have thought I would be learning about trademarks and copyrights while making a wreath?
Well, because this is a trademarked image. So yes, you can make something live on a social media post, because there's people who do it all day long. You can make it, you just can't advertise it on Etsy that you know, you're selling it. You can say, if you're interested and you want one, you could message me and I'd be happy to make one for you. So I'm just gonna tie this off so I can fluff my bow. So again, this is like, it's like a spider webby kind of fabric. And I'm gonna pull my tails down. Pull this one down here. And he's a little bit too long. There we go.
Jane, the reason why she doesn't put her pipe cleaners in the bottom of the Bodabra is because she kind of builds it backwards.
I do.
So she puts the bottom on and then she builds the top. If she did it the other way around, she'd have to build the top first and then put the bottom on, and then she could do it that way. But she just likes to pinch it and then pick it up and then just fold her pipe cleaner and then put it on.
So
You could do it either way.
you could. I just don't. Most of my stuff I do backwards, like how I build, like even using my bow and my Bodabra, it doesn't even, I'm not even doing it probably the way they would instruct it, because I turn it, because it just makes it easier. I keep my fabric from getting all bunched. So, and you can come back in here if you wanted and added like a little pumpkin thing, a pumpkin embellishment, but that's pretty much all I'm going to do for this guy. So, again, you would fluff the inside, pull your outer pieces out.
Oh, Lynn, I hope you recover soon. Well, about to. She said, thank you both so much. I'm having a knee replacement surgery on Monday.
Gail knows that.
And yeah, Gail just had that, and she's going to get her material. She didn't say, oh, she's going to get her material tomorrow.
Oh.
She's going to make one while she's out.
Recovering. This is
great.
actually the perfect thing to do. A lot of people ask because they're going through medical procedures and they can't be up and making wreaths, but obviously that creativity is too much to contain. This is a perfect thing to do where you've just cut all your material and now you're just going to sit in bed. And here's the back for you guys. This is what the back looks like.
Yep.
With all the knots, so you can see all the knots tied on all the rails. And then you have all your fluffy pieces. And then we'll put this one on the door so you guys can see. That's this one.
Thank you, Amy. She said, you have so much information and I'm learning so much.
Thank you.
And Julie, yes, we'll post this on her Cats Creations page. Once we're done, it'll post automatically, so you'll be able to watch the replay.
Yep. And there's that one. And you can do the same thing if there's some pieces that are a little bit longer than what you'd like. You can definitely go through and give it a haircut. But the one thing that most people will do is they'll be like, oh my God, that feels so cool. And that's exactly how you want to tell your customers, take your wreath out of the box and just run your hands over it. That's how you fluff those ones. So you could come back in, you could add a couple more embellishments to it, but I try to keep them really minimal because I want the wreath to kind of speak for itself. So what questions do you guys have that I can answer for you? This ribbon came from, didn't I say, Michael's last year. So this was Michael's, this was Paper Mart, 2.5 inch.
From Rick and Karen, yep.
Yeah, and then the fabric all came from Joann's in their Halloween section. Dollar Tree wreath frames. I think that's it. And then this is all the fabric I had left after I diced all those pieces up. So I don't know if I would have enough to go through and do garland. Maybe if it was a small, like 20, 15 feet maybe.
Yeah.
You could alternate that. But that's the way you do the Halloween garland, through the Rag Wreath method.
Susan says she loved the plaid with that.
Yeah.
Fowler said, love, 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 you rocked it.
Thank you.
Hi,
Thank you for helping me.
Squirrel, yeah, you can watch the replay later.
Yep. And then this is all you'll have. So not much waste, really. I mean, I don't have any fabric that is left. Like the other one I had just a little, I think 2 more strips maybe I could have gotten out of it. But that's it.
Yeah, Trisha, just like that. She said, kind of like when I posted a USMC wreath and I said I was making it as a gift.
Yes.
Then 2 people messaged her to purchase one.
Exactly.
Yep.
You can make them. They are available. I just can't post them on my Etsy store for sale. So if you like any, you guys could, I can post the fall one all day long. It's not licensed or trademarked. But that one, if you're interested, let me know. Because we can't post it. But 55 for that one and 40 for the other. 55,
okay.
40. So what were you saying?
Well, if you want to grab both of them, then you can hold them up both right here. Everybody said love both wreaths. Carol said she has 3 of 3 kinds of Christmas fabric, so
yes.
I don't know for sure what I would like to compare apples to apples.
So definitely.
But yeah, use them.
It just depends on what you want. What do you want it to look like? So this is what I tell Steve all the time. What do you want it to look like?
Yeah.
Do you want something thinner that fits on your door that looks amazing from the back? Or do you want something a little bit thicker? So obviously, neither one of these could be left outside in the rain. These are not outdoor wreaths. But if they wanted to put them out like Halloween night, it's not going to be raining, then they're fine.
Don says I build my bows backwards too, just because I learned from Kat.
I'm sorry.
There's no right or wrong way to do it, as long as you
I don't
use
think
it.
there is. As long as they make a good bow, we're okay. So as you guys can see, thick and thin, storm door, not storm door. It just depends on what you want. 2 yards, 6 yards of fabric. So those are the 2 results that you'll get. These are knotted every single rail, doing inside and then going out to each rail. These ones are tying your rails together and you have to make the knot. These ones you just have to do the one tie, but make sure it's tied pretty good.
Charlene, so yes, you can sell both of these wreaths on Etsy. She just cannot reference that they're the Nightmare Before. Well, she just can't reference it's a Nightmare Before Christmas wreath.
I actually cannot even post this.
Oh,
I cannot post any
okay.
images. No, you
Okay.
cannot. Which is why a lot of the sign makers now are pulling back their signs. Like there were a couple that made the Nightmare Before Christmas signs or the Grinch signs. Excuse me. And they have been asked not to. So it's a nice way of not having your store shut down, but you can definitely make people aware of the fact that yes, I can. I can post the pictures of this wreath on my Facebook and my Facebook business page and say, look what I made. And then if people are interested, they generally will reach out and say, I'm interested in that. Do you sell that? And then you would just solicit a private conversation offline. So that's the way you handle those. So, any other questions?
Well, Libby asked how heavy is it?
This one, not that heavy at all. I mean, it's heavier than this one, obviously.
Think you want to take you maybe 4 or 5 pounds?
No, like 3.5 maybe.
Okay.
It's solid weight. Whereas this one is more spread out. This one is more consolidated on those rails so you can actually feel it. But you can definitely notice a difference. Okay. Any other questions you guys have before I let you off?
Well, I'm not sure. Sandy said, what is the Trademark website?
I will look. There is, I forget, it's like the United States Trademark Office, USTO, United States Trademark Office. I think it's USTO. Okay. And you could type in anything. Tiffany Blue, Robin's Egg Blue. And it'll tell you, yes, so-and-so has applied for a patent. So-and-so, you know, like I said, the tractor, The fact that it doesn't have to say John Deere, that it can have just yellow seat, yellow wheels. You don't even have to, just any green tractor, yellow seat, yellow wheels, trademarked. So I was like, nah, it can't be. So sure enough, I looked it up and yes, it is.
Yeah.
So just things to be cautious of. So anything else you guys have?
Well, Kelly said thank you. Look forward to another great project you wanted to try.
Yes.
You got a great stash of fabric. Yeah.
Look at how many things that we've like taught you how to make.
Yeah.
What did we learn last week? What was last week's?
Last week was your other.
Oh, deco mesh on a budget.
Yeah.
Doing a wreath on a budget for under 15 bucks. Yeah, so we'll try to figure out something else for next week, Friday. A new technique, something totally new. Private group members, we're doing the burlap horse head wreath. We're doing the nightmare horse. So nobody's done that one. We've searched high and low. We've Google searched it, Pinterest searched it, Etsy searched it. Nobody has it.
Yep.
So we're going to be teaching you how to make that on Sunday. If you want to join my private group, $17 a month. You think about it, you get 4 custom tutorials every month because it's not just wreaths. We do swags, mantles, centerpieces. What else did we do? Lantern swags, and then the oddball things that nobody else teaches. Christmas tree.
Susan said she wished someone would make a wreath holder for a storm door. Susan, wreath holders I know for storm doors are kind of tough. You could probably use a command strip.
Maybe.
And maybe if you wanted to keep it permanent, instead of using command strip, you could probably maybe even just glue it on and do something like that.
But if it snaps off because it's plastic and it weathers over the years, then you'd be stuck trying to get the adhesive off. But knowing Steve, he'd figure something out to make that work.
Yeah.
All right, ladies, we'll have a good rest of the weekend. Oh my God, I kept thinking it was Sunday. So enjoy your weekend. And like I said, if you want to join the private group, we're making a horse head wreath on Sunday out of burlap and deco mesh.
Everybody said thank you. A lot of people said it's an awesome group, the private group. Oh, that's awesome. She said she has fabrics for days. She's a seamstress and crafter for 30 plus years. So
she's going to be making a lot of these.
You're going to be making a lot of rag wreaths. Yep.
Yeah. So there you go.
Susan, they're both the same wreath form, a 14-inch.
Yep.
They look really different, but they're both 14-inch.
It's just different techniques.
Yep.
How we tied it on to the rail.
Yep.
Gives you 2 different looks in one simple tutorial. So now you guys can go either or. You can do storm door, or you can do bigger. You can even do burlap strips on this if you wanted to do a burlap one.
Yep.
So you guys have learned a lot of things too, because people were saying you could do your military or police uniforms. You definitely could do that as a way of remembrance and kind of create that. So, okay. Well, have a good rest of the evening. I'll see my private group on Sunday at 5. Yes, Sunday at 5. We'll hopefully work the technical bugs out this time.
Happy Friday, happy weekend, and thanks for the birthday wishes.
Yep. See you guys soon. Bye-bye.